Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back to this session. I hope we are live. Let me just check. Okay, cool, I'm live. So perfect, let's get started. This is lesson number 41 and we are understanding CSS Miscellaneous part 2. Just before this session, like I started one session at 11 a.m. and we completed CSS Miscellaneous part 1 where we understood how CSS properties work, all the properties, something like how to use CSS on table, how to use display property, how to use visibility, how to use max width, and how to use positions, right? So in this session, we are going to totally use other kind of properties, and we are going to understand how we can use this. So let's understand what all topics you are going to see, because these are all small topics. That's why I've given the name miscellaneous. So we'll see how and what all topics we are going to cover here. Okay, so before that, if you guys are new here and you don't know about me, then let me introduce myself. So my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've also worked as a research analyst and subject matter expert in most of the tech companies. I have plus a few years of teaching experience, and I've trained graduates and corporate employees in Edison and Capgemini. I've trained more than 30K students till now, and it is increasing day by day. The subject which I take is mostly into full stack development, the front end, back end, and databases. And also I do give tips and tricks on interview preparations, how you can crack interview offline and online. That means virtual and face to face. Now I have a very good news for you that you can use my code, which is RIT10, and get a free Relevel sample test paper. Okay. Now, if you do not know what is Relevel, then just wait for 1 minute. I'm going to tell you what is Relevel. It's a very good thing for you. And if you know about Relevel, then you must be knowing that there's a test which is happening. You must have registered for that. And if you want to get a free sample test paper, then you have to use this code to get that, so that you get an idea what kind of questions can be asked in the actual test. Okay. So now, if you do not know what is a level, then let me introduce it to you. Okay. So basically, there are many candidates who are doing, BTech, BE, or BSc, BCom, BCA. Let it be any degree, but they want to move to IT industries. They want to work for corporate industries, but because of degree, they are, not getting called for any interview. They have applied for 50, 60 companies, but nobody is calling back, so they are not getting interviewed, right? And hi Virendra, I have a doubt. Yes, please do ask me what is your doubt. Uh, Meanwhile, I'll just explain what is relevant to other students. Okay, so your resume doesn't stand out with those 100 other applying for the same startup, right? Maybe the reason can be because of your degree, maybe because of your marks, maybe because of your connections, maybe because of your college, maybe it's a tier 3 college, right? So reason can be anything, but this is Relevel, which is India's first test signing platform by Unacademy. Now, here what happens, they are helping job seekers find their dream jobs, and you can get a job basis on your skill and talent, and not on the basis of your degree or whatever you have done earlier. Okay, so how we are going to select you and how you're going to pass this? There's a test which will be happening. This will be free test, and the date you can choose of your own choice. So there are 50 plus companies who are connected with us, and including top startups and unicorns. So you can attempt this test for free. This test will be of 1,000 marks, and you have to score above 700. If you score above 700, you will get placed in a company, will create a profile, and you'll get interviewed and hired. And if suppose that your score is less than 700, then no problem. After 30 days, again you can reattempt the test. So there are so many job positions across business development, front-end development, and back-end development, and you can go ahead and apply for it. So I'll just tell you how to register and sign up for this. In the description, you can find a particular link for Relevel. You can click on it and you can go ahead and sign up yourself. You have to just give the mobile number and an OTP. After that, what you have to do is you will get this particular page. You have to choose which test you want to give. If you have a skill on front end or business development or back end, then choose whatever skill do you have. Select that and you'll get into this page. You have to book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. And then you can fill these details for the admit cards. You have to fill the full name, email ID, birth year, current state, and the gender. After that, do not forget to use the coupon code RIT10 here. Okay, if you use the RIT10 code here and you press on apply and create account, you will be getting your account with the sample papers, right? So with the sample paper, you'll be able to know that in the actual test, what kind of questions will be asked, and whether it will be MCQ, whether it will be a programming based, what will be. you will get all the answers from this sample paper, right? So do not forget to use the promo code, and that's how you will sign up and register yourself in Relevel. So do it today itself, because slots are not there, right? Slots are very limited. And also, if you have done it, perfect. If you have not done it, do it. And suppose that you don't have a skill and you're not willing to go for giving this test, because maybe you'll be feeling that I don't know anything, how come I will pass this, right? So then that's why these playlists are going on, these sessions are going on, which is live. Many of the educators are putting up content for free, for backend, for DSA, for CP, for front end, for Python, SQL, everything is going on, right? So go ahead and take advantage of that, learn from there and upskill yourself, and then register for a level, right? Okay, now there's a Telegram channel also for us for CodeBeyond, so you can join that by clicking on the link in the description below. What will happen when you will join? Basically, you will get an update and notifications for all the live sessions which is coming, which is upcoming, and also you will get to know the all code files. Okay, so for all the sessions or all the projects which we are doing, all the code files you're going to get there in the Telegram channel. Cool. Please subscribe the channel, and so also hit the notification bell so that you'll get an update in the YouTube app as well. Also like and share the video if you are liking it. The previous video we have done it for miscellaneous part 1 CSS, so please go ahead and watch that as well, so that you get to know how cool was it and how easily you can understand those, right? And now we are in the part 2. We are going to understand some topics in part 2, and we are going to see what all topics we are going to see. The very first topic we are going to understand is Z-index, and let's get started. I'll just wait for some more time to join, to let other people also join, because I think I started a bit earlier. Hi Virendra, you were having some doubt. You can ask it. Please do let me know what is your doubt. Meanwhile, I'll just create one file here. Okay, zindex.html, and I'm going to just create a code. Okay, so I'm going to create a next skeleton, and I'm just going to write here understanding z-index in HTML. Cool. So this is what we are going to understand right now, and what is z-index we are going to see. Fine. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm also going to open my browser so that I can show you the browser. Let me just open it with live server so that you can see the live server here. Okay, understanding z-index in HTML. Fine. Okay, so let's get started with this. Any doubts, please do let me know. Cool. Now, z-index is basically to overlap one element with another. Fine. So suppose you have an image and you want that image to overlap above the above a text, or you want the text to be overlapped from an image, right? So all the overlapping things when you want to do, then you can use this z-index. Okay, so let's write some code, and we already have some images. We have pic1.jpg, so we can use that image as well, right? So what we are going to do here is, let's say I'm going to write here h1, and I'm just going to write welcome to CodeBeyond channel. This is the h1 tag, so this is the heading. Okay, the next thing I'm going to put here img. I'm going to put source, and my source is basically this, so I'm going to write that, and I'm going to give here a width, let's say 100, and a height, so let's say 140. Cool. And the next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a paragraph, and I'm going to just write some statement. So let's say, I hope you will enjoy these sessions as it is going to be interesting. Cool. This is the paragraph which I've written. So let's have a look what is happening in this. Okay, let's have a look. I'll just go to my browser first of all, and let's save this. So this is what we also expected, right? We expected one h1 tag. We expected 1 second, just let me open the live session in my mobile, because I need to see the comments as well. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, cool. Fine. So this is what was expected, right? I have the images, I have the heading, and then I have the paragraph. Nothing is overlapping. Everything is one by one. I have the heading, then image, then paragraph, right? But now what I want these things to be overlapping with the image. Okay, so let's understand what we have to do in our code. So in the title, obviously, that's a CSS property. So I have to mention here style, and inside this I have to write whatever I want to write. So I'm going to put here img, and I'm going to put here position. Okay, let's say I'm putting here absolute. Here I'm going to put here left, and let's say 0 pixel. Cool. Next I'm going to put here top. In the top I'm going to put 0 pixel, and I'm going to give here z index. Now understand. Let's say that I'm not given z index, and let's save this. Let's go back to my browser. What have I given here? I've given position absolute, right? And I've given left 0, top 0. Left 0, top 0 means, and I've given those two image. So that means the image should be in the top left corner. If left is 0, top is 0, that means we don't want any spaces in the left or in the top. So it's gonna go to the top left corner. That's what is happening. But when this is happening, my text is hidden now. I want to show the text. I want the text to be appearing, right? So what I should do here? So what I can do here is, I'll go back to my code, and here what I'm going to write, I'm going to write z index -1. Okay. Now let's understand what is -1. So if I go back to my browser, I have not saved the file. Let's save the file. Now I have used -1, and I don't know if you can see it because the text is black and the image is also black, but the text is now coming above. It's coming above. I'll do something. I will change the background color. Okay. I'll change the background color, and I'll also change the text color. Okay. Cool. Now I think you'll be able to see it. So let's go back. So you can see the image is in the background and the text is above. Correct? This is what is z index -1. -1 means that whatever your text is, or whatever your image is, because we are giving this z index -1 property to the image. So the image is gonna go behind. That's -1. Okay. Let's see what happens if I give here 1, right? So I'm giving 1, not gonna save this, going back to my browser. Let's save this. So it's going back, right? So we have two values. We have 1, -1, that we have understood, right? Let's understand some more things in our z index. Cool. So let's try to do something else. Let's try to use a bigger example. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to comment this. We will use a bigger example and we'll try to see how that will be done. I'll also comment this. I'll not be using any image, but directly I'll be using some of the tags. So let's say I have one h1 tag. Okay. And I've used here welcome. Only this much. Okay. Only, okay. Let's say I'm not using h1. Let's use directly the other things. So I'm going to use here div. I'm going to give here a class, and I'm just going to give here a showcase, a name to the class. Sushant Bangira, for position absolute, we need to have an ancestor, right? Okay, so have a look what is happening. When I've written image, right? Image src, images pick 1, width 100, height 140. One second, let me show you this. I'm uncommenting this all. Okay, let me show you my browser. 1 second. Okay, you're asking that position absolute should be having an ancestor. Now have a look. So if I remove this, right, position absolute, if I remove this, if I go back, you can see what's happening. So this is not going into the top left, right? Why is it not going to the top left? Understand what is happening here. Position absolute means that wherever you're writing position absolute, That is true, it's going to have the ancestor. But if you're not writing the ancestor, then all these things, either you write these things or either you write the ancestor. If you're not writing these things, if you're mentioning top left, this is not going to work. If you're not writing position absolute. What is the meaning of absolute? Absolute means that however it is going to work like that. Okay, absolute is that. So my image is right now in a normal position, right? In a normal position. We are not giving here anything such as top left. We have given top left, but it is not doing anything. It's not going there because I have not given it a position. I have not given, it's working as a static right now. So in the static, this top left which I have written, it is not working. So to make this top left work, I have to give something. Okay, let's understand. Let's say that I'm removing this. It's not going to change anything in the browser, so I'm not showing you the browser. Let's say I'm writing here top, or what we can do is margin 0 and top 0 and left 0. Okay, have a look. There's nothing happening in this particular page. Why there's nothing happening in this particular page? Because whatever you're writing right now in the image, it will not do anything because this is all static. Static and dynamic, meaning you guys must be knowing, right? If you give higher values in Z index, it will do the same thing. Let's check out. I'll check that. But right now, let's understand absolute. So right now, this is a static page. Static page means nothing is going to change. So if you want to change something in your page, you have to make it dynamic. How you can make it dynamic? You can use absolute for that. Okay. So when you use absolute, you have to use top left so that you can do some changes. So that's why in my code, I have done that. Okay. So even if you don't have ancestors, it will work. This was my code. So now if you are saying that, okay, let me do something. Let me first write -1 and let me save you. Let me show you my browser. So you can see here -1 is now having this thing, right? Let's come back. And here you are saying that if I give here 5 or 10, right? So let's see. Now you can see if I go back, it's doing the same thing. What it should do for 1, it's doing the same thing, right? Let's do something else. Let's write here -5. Let's save. Let's go back. It's doing the same thing. So 1 and -1 is the value which you can give. Okay. And there is also some more values which you can give. I'm just trying to give you another example for that. You can give 2 also. You can give 3 also. But I'll just tell you when you should give those things. Okay. Not right now. I'll tell you when you have to give those things. So I'll comment this. Right now, we just know that we have -1 and 1 in our plate for Z index. Okay. Now, let's write something and let's understand what we are going to do here. So, I'm going to write here one h1, not h1, div. I was writing div class. Let's say class, I'm writing here it as what I was writing there, showcase. Okay, this is my div element. Inside this div element, I'm going to create again some more div elements. Okay, so let's say I'm creating a class. I'm writing here red. This is my class name. Then I'm going to put here a red container. Okay, so I'm just creating one container which is a main container, and inside that container I have written another div which is saying it as a red container. Okay, so this is my red container. Similarly, I'm going to create 3 containers for different colors, but I have not given any color. I'll be using style to do that. So let's say I'm putting here, one second, I'm putting here it as blue. Okay, and the next one I'm going to put it here it as yellow. Cool. So this is done. Let me show you the browser first of all, because it's gonna be a normal page because I've not used any index and something. So this is just a container, red, blue, and yellow. Even I have not given any colors till now, right? Let's move ahead and let's now try to give some CSS to it and let's see what's gonna change. Fine. So in this style, first of all, to the container, I'll make the position relative. Understand why I'm making it relative? Because I don't want my page to be static. Okay. I can give here absolute, but understand what is the meaning, what is the difference between relative and static. Relative is something when even if you're giving a top left position, it's gonna move. It's gonna move to the right, it's gonna move to the left. And the left out content will not be visible. That's what I want here. You can use here absolute also, there's no problem. Okay, so dot container position relative, and here now what I'm going to do, the color was red. I'm going to give here, let's say I'm giving here again position relative, Z index I'm going to give here 1, border I'm going to give here 2 pixel, solid, black, and the next I'm going to give here height. First we'll do only for one and then later we'll see for all others. Height, and then also we'll give one margin. Margin is not top bottom, it's all around. Okay, so this is done. Okay, I have not given any color. This is just I have given as red, right? So let's give a color also, there's no problem. Let's give here a color. Okay, let's save this. Let's move to my browser and let's have a look. So if I look here, you can see what's happening. Okay, now understand, Z index is 1, right? That's why nothing abrupt we are looking at. We are looking at exactly the same thing, correct? Nothing is messy here. Height is 100 pixel, margin is 30 pixel. You can see this margin. This is left, top, right, bottom. From everywhere margin is coming. Okay, we have the border black color, we have the position relative, everything is fine here. Okay, now let's create one other class for blue, and let's understand what changes we are going to make in that. So here in blue, I'm going to write the position as absolute. Why? Now understand why I'm using absolute. You can see that div is an ancestor, that means a parent, and these all are child. And if you look here, the red was also an ancestor if I'm writing here, right? So you can make this also an absolute, and I can make this also an absolute. So here, this is the correct use of absolute. Okay, I'm using here it as absolute. In the yellow also we will use absolute. Right now let's understand what is this. Here what I'm going to do, let's say I'm giving here Z index 3, and also I'll give the background color blue. Next I'm going to give here the width, let's say I'm giving 35%. Height, yes, relative should work with respect to the browsers. Yes, relative, yes, correct. Height will be, let's say 100 pixel, and left, let's say I have 270 pixel. 1 second, something, 270 pixel, and top I'm going to give here it as 1 second, absolute width. Okay, let's say I'm giving here 100 pixel. So as you can see, I've given some left and top, so I don't know where it will appear. Somewhere some distance will be there. I don't exactly know where it will appear, right? So let's go to my browser, look at the blue one, because in the blue container I've done some changes. Let's save this. Somewhere here it's coming. Why is it coming here? Obviously because width I've given 35%. So the width of the container is 35%. Border I have not given, so there is no border. Height I have given 100 pixels, so the height is 100 pixel. And left and top I have given. So from left it's 270 pixel, and from top it's 100 pixels. That's why it's coming here, okay? But the most important thing to watch here is that it is overlaying red container. Blue container is above red container, correct? That's what we need to see. Now what we will do, we will write for yellow. So let's come back. Let's write for yellow. And here what we are going to do is we are going to write the same CSS properties, absolute. The next was Z index. Now see, we have used Z index 1, we have used Z index 3. I'm going to use here Z index 2, okay? And then we are going to give here background color. So let's say I'm giving a background color yellow. And let's save this. Let me show you what is happening right now. I've not changed the position yet, okay? Right now, I'll change the position. So here I'm going to give some positions. So let's say I'm giving here it as height 60 pixel, width 70%. So it's much bigger now. As related to blue one, it's much bigger. Left, I'm going to give here it as 50 pixel, and top also I'll give here 50 pixel. Okay, now let's save this. Let's move to my page. So here you can see the yellow container is again above red container, right? Correct. This red container is Z index 1, blue container is red index 2, and then we have yellow container which is 3. Now you can see blue container is above red and yellow, correct? Let's do something. Let's go to my code. Let's change this blue one to 2, and let's change this yellow one to 3. Now let's come back. Can you see what is happening? Now the yellow one is above blue, right? And blue one is above red. So basically what is happening, we have given a numbering. We have given something like this. Red container is 1, so it's behind. Then we have blue, which is second number. And then we have yellow, which is third number. That's what we have done. Let's say that I'm giving the yellow as -1, okay? So what's going to happen? You know that yellow is going to go behind everything because -1 is much lesser number. So if I go back, can you see? Yellow is not being able to show itself because it's behind red. So it's hiding. Let's say that in yellow, I'm going to make the top a bit lesser, 10 pixel. Now 10 pixel top when I'm giving, that means now the Wasim Raza, what is wrong? Yellow is 2. Yes, yellow was 2, so there was a countdown. I don't think something was wrong there. So now you can see yellow is in the background because I've given top 10 pixels, so there is only top 10 pixel space. That means it's a proof that yellow is in the back, right? Let's say that I'm going to my code. The red one I'm giving here -2. Again, it's more smaller than -1, right? So what's going to happen? Let's go back to a browser. Yellow is now behind, and now red is now behind, and yellow is above that because red is -2. -2 red, -1 yellow, and blue is having 2. So it's the largest. So it's above all. How we got to know that blue is above all? Is just above red, right? Is it above yellow? How can we see that? What we can do? Let's go to the code. This blue top, I'm going to reduce this. So let's say I'm writing here 50 pixel. Okay, from top. Left, I'll keep it like this. Let's go back to my browser. Let's save this. So it's above. So it's like a numbering. So Z index is mostly like a numbering. However, you can give the numbers. You can give from minus to any positive number. How much ever numbering you will give, that's how it's gonna align itself. Okay, overlapping. That's what is a Z index. Please do let me know if you have any doubts. Wasim, if you have any doubts, please do let me know. I think I did it correctly. Jitender, Shushant, Virendra, if you have any doubts, please do let me know. Other people also who are watching. Cool. So we have understood how Z-index works. Now let's understand how it's going to look if I remove the Z-index. Okay. So right now you can see how this is looking like, right? Now what we are going to do is I'm going to remove Z-index from everywhere. Okay. Now let's save this. Let's go ahead. So you can see what's happening. Your red content is there, your blue content is there, your yellow content is there, but have a look that these are not overlapping. Okay. I mean, these are overlapping, but not through Z index. Okay. Now, how it is overlapping? Why is it showing me the overlapping thing? Because the same format we have written it. We have written it in this manner, right? We have written how? We have written first red, then we have written blue, then we have written yellow, right? So in the same manner, it's coming. First red, then blue, then yellow. That's how it is coming. So here it is not that manually I am saying to overlap. It is automatic. Correct? However you have written, that's the same way how it is coming. Cool. Let's go back to the code. That was Z-index for you. Any doubts, please do let me know. Otherwise, we'll move to the next one, which is overflow. Okay. So overflow, again, we'll create a new file because here you will get confused. So let's do here overflow.html. Let's create this. If you have any doubts, please do let me know. I'm just writing this skeleton and keeping things ready. Okay. So now we are going to understand overflow. Now overflow, the name itself says that when the text is getting overflowed, right? When you have a larger text and the text is getting overflowed, how you want this text to appear? That's what is your overflow. So there are some properties which we can use to show overflow. I'll just write it here. So either you want to make the text visible, either you want to make the text hidden, either you want to make the text as an scrolling part, or either you want to make it as an auto. These are the 4 values which we can use to overflow, and we can use this. One small example I'll give you, and then we can understand what is this. Any questions? 12:51. So we have still some time, right? Okay. So in the body, I'm going to just write one paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to take one paragraph from my earlier HTML code itself. Let's say I'm using this. Okay. I'm using this paragraph. Let me close this. Let me close this as well. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to put here one div container, and I'm just going to paste this. Okay. There's a paragraph which I've written, as simple as it is. So paragraph is written. Let me show you the browser, because right now this is another live server. So here it is. Okay, there's a paragraph. Let's come back to the code. Now here in the style, I'm going to use the property of overflow, and we will see how this works. So in the style, we have the div. Here I'm going to put some properties. So let's say the background color I'm going to put here. Let's say I'm putting black. Okay, because it's black, so I'm going to use the color as white. Cool. And now I'm going to give here some width and height, so that we create a border inside which the div element is there, and we show that where the overflow is happening. Okay, so width I'm just giving it as 200 pixel. Okay, and the height I'm going to give here it as, let's say 60 will be fine. I think height 60 pixel. I'm going to give a border so that you can see the border as well. So let's say 2 pixels solid black. That's what I've given. And the next one I'm going to give is, okay, let's first see normally how does it appear. So if I go back to my browser, this is what is happening. Why the text is incomplete, and why is it only showing me till here? because I have mentioned a width and a height. The width which I have given is 200 pixels, so the width is 200 pixels, and the height is 60 pixels, so the height is small. Now the text, the div element, the text is inside that, and we cannot scroll, we can't do anything here, right? So what we are going to do is, let's say I'm coming to the code and I'm going to write here overflow. So whatever text is getting overflowed, I want to make it visible. Right now it's not visible. That means it's auto. That means it's by default, right? So now I'm going to go back to my browser. I'm going to save the program. And here you can see, acha, the text is there, but because it's white in color, so you can't see, okay? But the text is visible now. Earlier it was not visible, okay? The text is now visible. Let's use some other color. You will get confused. Background color, let me give here yellow. And let me give here green. I'm just changing the colors. Okay, now you can see. So this is when I have written overflow visible. So by default, it's visible, okay? By default, it's visible. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to the code and I'm going to write here overflow hidden. Let's save this. Let's go back. It's hidden. Now the green color text is not coming here. Correct? Let's come back. What was the next thing? Oh, visible, hidden, and now scroll. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write here scroll. Let's save this. Let's go back. You can see the scrolling thing. You can scroll and you can read the text. That's what is your scroll. Fine. So three things we have seen: visible, hidden, and scroll. By default, it's visible. Okay. By default, it's visible. That means you will be able to see the text. Fine. Now, the next thing what we are going to do is we are going to use auto. So I'm going to use here auto. Let me show you my browser. Let's save this. This is auto. Okay. So now that down you can't see that bar, right? So it's auto. Okay, this is what is auto. You are getting the scroll. With the scroll, what happens? With the scroll, you get a thing here also, right? In both the ways. In the left, right, and the top, bottom, everywhere you get the scroll. But in auto, you just get automatic scrolling. Okay, this is auto. One more is there, that is called as Overflow X and Overflow Y. So let me teach you that. Now, Overflow X is basically horizontal overflowing. So let's say I'm getting here Overflow X. Okay, and let's say in overflow X I'm writing hidden. Okay, and in overflow Y I'm going to write scroll. So what's gonna happen? In the horizontal part it's gonna be hidden, but in the vertical part it's gonna give me the scrolling. So let me go back to my browser and let me save this. Again, repeating, overflow X is hidden and overflow Y is scrolling. So if I save this, overflow X is hidden. So it's hidden. X, there is nothing. Horizontally, there is nothing. But in Y, there is a scrolling. Right? If you're thinking that this is auto, yes. You can use directly auto as well. Okay? Auto will also give you the same thing. Now, what I'm going to do is overflow X, I'm going to give here scroll. And in overflow Y, I'm going to give hidden. Let's go back. So you can see in Y, that is the vertical, you are not getting anything, but in the X, you are getting something. But this is of no use right now, right? That's why it is not giving me any bar, because there is no text in the on the right hand side. But if we increase the width, let's say I'm increasing the width to 500. So it is taking it. Again, it's not going to give me because my browser screen should, my text should be that much bigger, much more bigger than the width, the screen width, right? that's when it will give me the scroller. But right now it's not giving me the scroller because text is visible. And in Overflow X and Overflow Y, we can use any kind of values. So here, if you want to use visible, you can use visible. So let's say Overflow Y, I want to use visible. So you can see it is giving me a scroll bar so that I can see the next part. So it is Overflow Y I've given visible. So it's visible. It is showing me, right? That's what is Overflow X, Overflow Y, auto, visible, hidden, and scroll. Cool. That's what is your overflow. Now what you're going to do is we have some 15 minutes of time. So we are going to use that time to understand combinators. Now, if you do not know combinators, then it's going to be a problem because in many of the projects we'll be using combinators. Please do let me know if you have any doubts. Okay. Please do let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, let's move ahead and let's understand some combinators. Okay. For combinators, what I'm going to do is we will use it here itself. Okay, I'm going to comment this and I'm going to comment this style as well. Cool. Now here, I'm going to use some codes and I'm going to show you how this combinators works. Combinators are basically the elements which you write in CSS. See, here we have written div, right? So sometimes you must have seen that we used to write here something like div greater than h1. Well, I have not used this many times, but there are some things which you can use something like this. There is also something like this, congruency symbol, and there is also something like this, div h1. This you know, div comma h1 you know, because this is the group selector. You know that all these properties, whatever I've written, will be applied to div also, will be applied to h1 also. So you know group selector, but you do not know what will happen if I do this. Right? In this one, we do not know what's going to happen. So that is what is called as combinators. We are going to understand some cases and we are going to see how this works. Okay. So first one, what we are going to do is we are going to use the space one and we're going to see how that works. Okay. So I have some examples. I'll just use that and we'll see how that works. Okay. Now the first one is basically called as Descendant Selector. So Descendant selector. Now what is this Descendant Selector? What this basically do is it will select all p element, okay, inside div element. That means if you have a parent element which is div element, and inside that if it is having any kind of elements, it's gonna apply all those properties to the inside element. Inside, that means p element. So if I have div element and if I have 3-4 paragraphs and if I'm writing Descendant Selector, it's gonna provide me all the properties to the paragraphs, not to the div but to the paragraph. So how do we write this? We write it simply like div and then p. That's how we write it. Okay, so I'm going to use some examples so that you can understand this. So what I'm going to do is, let's say here I have a div element. Okay, now in this div element I have some paragraphs. So let's say I'm writing here paragraph 1. Okay, 5 paragraphs are there inside this div, and let's say I have some more paragraphs down below. Let's say I have here 6 and let's say I have here 7. Cool. Now let's say I have above also some paragraphs. Okay, and in this style what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Descendant Selector, which is written something like this. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a background color. Let's say I'm going to give here green. Cool. Let's move to our browser. Let me show you the browser, and now let's save this. So what's happening? basically all the 5 paragraphs which were inside div, that is only changing the background color. The other paragraphs is not impacting anything. In the other paragraphs, there is no change, right? So if you look at the code, we have paragraphs here as well. We have paragraphs here as well. But in these paragraphs, nothing is happening. Whatever is happening is inside this one. Why? Because I've used Descendant Selector. Okay. So again, Descendant Selector, select all P element inside div element. Okay. So this is one example. I'm going to comment this and let's move to another kind of combinator. So that is called as child selector. Okay. Now with the name only you can understand what will happen here. So it's a child selector. That means you will again have a parent element and a child element, and child selector will make sure that the child element is getting all the benefits. So let's say that it selects all P element, okay, that are children of a div element. Why I'm taking only examples of P and div? It's not that it will only work with P and div. Okay, this kind of selectors can work with any kind of container and the child elements. Okay, so it can be worked with header, it can be worked with footer, it can be worked with anything. It's very simple to explain you in using div and paragraph. That's why I'm using it. In child selector, how do we write this? So we give this kind of thing. Okay, this is what is called as child selector. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another example. Okay, I'm going to use the same div and the same div paragraph, but I'll change some things here. Okay, so let's say I have div paragraph here. Okay, and inside this, let's say I am writing here in header. This header. So these paragraphs are inside this header. That is the meaning of this. And here I'm going to close this. Okay. And again, this paragraph 7, I'm going to put one more div. And I'm going to close this after this paragraph. What have I told you in child selector? I have told you that all the paragraph which is considered as the child element of the div selector, that's gonna get the effect, right? So understand which all paragraphs are inside the div. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3 is not the exact child of div. Paragraph 3 and 4 is the exact child of header. So effect will not happen here. What about paragraph 5? Yes, paragraph 5 is the exact child of div, right? Paragraph 6, no, it's not. Paragraph 7, yes. So what I'm going to do here is, let's go back to this and let's give here div. Cool. Let's go back to my browser. Let's save this. So paragraph 1 and 2 and 5 and 7, that's what is giving me the yellow color. Let's go back to the code. So yes, paragraph 1 and 2 is the exact child of div. Paragraph 3 and 4 is not. Paragraph 5, yes it is. And paragraph 7. So all 4 are getting. Now what if I'm writing here header P and then I'm writing here background color purple. Okay, let's save this and let's go back to my browser. So you can see paragraph 3 and paragraph 4 is becoming purple. Why so? Because inside header I have 2 paragraphs. That's the exact child of header. Cool. So this is what is your child selector. The next selector which you are going to see is adjacent sibling selector. Please let me know if you guys are understanding, guys. Put up a thumbs up if you guys are understanding. You guys are watching the video but you guys are not responding. So please, if you are understanding everything, let me know so that I can understand. Okay, fine, everything is going well, right? Okay, adjacent sibling selector. What is this? So it will select, it selects the first p element, that are placed immediately after div element. Okay, understand. If you have a div element and inside that div element, if you have 3 paragraphs, the very first paragraph will have this effect. Adjacent sibling selector. Okay. So select the first p element that are placed immediately after div element. Let me copy this and let me comment it. Cool. So let's see one example of this as well. What I'm going to do is let's comment this part. Okay. And let's see what code we can write here. So what I'm going to do here is we have a div. This paragraph will keep it as it is. We have a div. We have one paragraph 1. That's fine. Let's do something here. And I'm going to remove this. These paragraphs are empty. And I'm going to again start one div. Okay. Inside this div, we have one more paragraph. I'll put this paragraph also inside it. So this is one div container and this is one div container. This is not a container. This is not a container. I'll separate it. I'll keep it like this. This is not a container. And also I'll create some more. This is also not inside any container. Cool. I'm going to delete this. Okay. Paragraph 0 is there. Now, what's going to happen? So what is the meaning of this? Selects the first p element that are placed immediately after div element, not inside div element, after div element. So if this is the div element, what is the first paragraph after this div element? Paragraph 3. Okay, do not get confused. Adjacent sibling. Adjacent sibling means if I have my brother, then adjacent sibling is my brother, correct? So if this is one parent, or let's say child, so this will be another child of it, right? Let's understand in a better way. Div is a parent. This paragraph is a child of that parent, right? And this is another parent, correct? So div and p will be siblings. Obvious, right? Div and p will be siblings. Now the selector name is adjacent sibling selector. So if this is the sibling, the adjacent sibling of this is this one, right? Not even paragraph 4, paragraph 3. So what I'm going to do here is, how we get to know that after div the adjacent sibling? Because we are writing it here. We are writing this. That's why we got to know. Let's go back to my browser. Let's save this. Say I have only paragraph 3 and the other paragraph 3. Why is it named 3? Paragraph, oh god, 7, 8. Okay, paragraph 3 and paragraph 7. Why? You can see here, paragraph 3 is just after the div. Paragraph 7 is just after the div. Correct? Let's say I have here one header. Inside this I have one p. And I'm writing here paragraph 10. Cool. Also, I'll do this just here. I'll write here 11. And in the property, I'm going to give header plus p, then a background color. I'm going to give here, let's say red. Understand what I'm doing. Header plus p. That means now I'm not considering the fact of header. Adjacent sibling of header. Header is this. The adjacent sibling is paragraph 4. Header is here. Adjacent sibling is paragraph 8. So 4 and 8 should be red. 4 and 8 is red. Cool. Any doubt? Please do let me know. I don't think there should be any doubt. This is much more clear. That is your adjacent sibling selector. Okay. The last one is general sibling selector. Okay. So general sibling selector, what do we use? We use the congruence sign. So we use something like this. Okay. What it's gonna do, it's gonna select all p element that are next siblings of div element. Again, understand the statement. Select all p element that are next siblings of div element. Okay. Let me comment this first of all, and then we will use some example to show it what does it mean. Okay. So let's go above. Let's comment this first. Here I'm going to change this. So no, I won't be using so many things. Let's remove these all things. First of all, I'll have paragraph 0. Then I'll have div paragraph 1. Okay, let's keep this as it is. Let's say I have one more paragraph. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to put it 3 here. Cool. The next one I'm going to do, I'm going to create another paragraph. Something similar to let's say I'll give something else only. I'll give span. Okay. And then I'm going to paste this again and I'm going to write here 4. 1 second, I think some chats are there. I'll see that. 1 second, I'll just explain this and then I'll see the chat. Okay. I'm getting confused. So we have paragraph 0, paragraph 1, 2, 3, and then span. So something I've written here. Okay. Now what's going to happen here? Basically, what is the meaning of general sibling? Selects all p elements, all the p elements. Okay. See what was here? The first p element. Here, select all p element that are next siblings of div element. Where are we have the diving? The div is here. After that, whatever paragraph is there, it's gonna get the effect. That's what is your general sibling. So div congruent p. Let's say I'm putting here background color yellow. Cool. Let's go back to my browser. Let's save this. So paragraph 3 and paragraph 4. Why? Have a look. Paragraph 3 is after the div. Paragraph 4 is after the div. Even if I write paragraph 0 after this div, this will get the color. So all the paragraph elements which is after the div will get the color. That is what is general sibling. Cool, understood? If you write here header, you have to write header congruent p. So it's gonna work like that. Fine. So let's come back to the code. I hope this you have understood. Let me read some comments. I think I got some comments. I've never seen someone explaining this stuff in such details. Gonna recommend everyone who is interested in web development. Thank you, Abhijit. Please do let other friends of yours also know that these sessions are going on. You can use LinkedIn also. Just go ahead and post something about these sessions. It's not about my popularity. It's about the content which is going free for the audience, right? If the audience will increase, more people will obviously get to know. So please do that if you're liking it. This means after header, the first p element should be selected. I think you're talking about the previous example. So let me go back to the YouTube video and let me see what example I took. This means after header, the first p element should be selected. After header, the first p element. Yes. After header, the first p element, not inside the header. after the header first p element. Okay, cool. So this was it. I hope I have covered everything, and I hope you have understood all the miscellaneous topics. And these were the topics which are very important to discuss, and I think I've completed that. Okay, so I'm coming back again at 1:30. Okay, yeah, this will be continuous sessions. 1:30 again. I'm coming back to complete the session which I did not took yesterday 9 p.m. CSS pseudo class and pseudo element. Okay, so I'll see you again at 1:30. Okay, that will be 1 hour session. I can be a little bit late because I just have to, drink some water and I'll come back. So be there. We'll understand pseudo class and pseudo element. Cool. So please join the Telegram channel. You'll get an update and notifications for all your notifications for all your live sessions when I'm coming live. What are the code files? Everything will get there. Also, please do subscribe the channel if you're liking this. If you are understanding everything, please hit like and share it with your relatives. Share it in LinkedIn. Post it somewhere so that everybody will get to know that okay, this is going so well, right? Thank you so much, guys. I'll meet you really soon at 1:30. Tata, bye bye. Take care.